Hello, everyone. This is Juan Ricardo of the band Dark Arena, and you're experiencing Poppitt's Corner.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Poppitt's Corner. I am obviously your host, Tanner Poppitt, and of course, bringing back on the show the alumni, Mr. Shannon Fry. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me again. It's always great to be with doing this. I look forward to this every week.
Absolutely, man. So this week is going to hit closer to home for you as far as your end goes. So what I figured we would do, because I know Avenger of Blood is currently in the studio right now and going to be re-releasing or re-recording and re-releasing uh complete Annihilation in the near future. But for now, I wanted to kind of focus on some of your back catalog, and just do a top 10 of all best of all three of your records, and see what songs we pick and just have some fun with it. So if you're ready, I'd love to get started.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think this is fascinating and funny, but I'm ready.
Well, what's going to be interesting, because you're going to have more of the backstory on these songs, so hopefully you can educate me and the viewers and listeners and whatnot, on some of these songs, and hopefully you're coming out at a whole different angle than say I am. So
Right.
obviously you got the backstory and what it took to kind of do the performances and whatnot, and the writing process. So it'll be interesting for sure. We're gonna have two sides of the coin here. So, why don't you go first, if you don't mind?
Okay. Well, my first pick was on our EP that we have for free. That's online on our Bandcamp, and it was called Spawn of Evil, the EP. And then we re-recorded this song on Slaying Grounds, but the album is called Aggressive Psychotic Behavior. It's pretty much a driving triplet riff. It was one of the first songs we wrote for that. Well, for the EP that came before that. But on that version, we upped the ante just a little bit in the speed department. Just felt like maybe we should push it a little faster. Um, I'd say it's one of my favorite songs that we ever did. Obviously, it's at number 10, but yeah,
Well, did was this the first song you guys recorded with the new lineup?
it's
Or
one of the
writ or
three. One of the
one of the
three
three? So
songs.
what are the
Yeah.
three songs, if you don't mind?
One was called Centuries of Hell. The other one was Spawn of Evil, and then Aggressive Psychotic Behavior.
And then the first track you name, I don't ever think made an album so far, right?
That was on the EP
It
that
was
we
on
have
the
for
EP only.
free. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, good, very good choice, sir. I'm gonna go to the complete Annihilation album, and this is a song entitled "Violent Epiphany." I really dig this whole record. It's very aggressive, very violent, and this song especially, it's just like a 3-4 minute banger. It gets right to the point, and I just love everything about it. So that is my number 10. Any memories of this particular track, or?
I always thought that one was the most brutal on that album. I think that was one of the most intense songs we ever wrote up to this point. I mean, as far as intensity, it's a thrasher, so it's definitely, I don't know. It's got a lot of balls, and it goes through some twists and turns that you kind of ain't expecting, I guess. But when they hit, there's oh yeah.
Absolutely. Number 9.
Number 9. All right. This one's off the Death Brigade album, and this is the song "Terminate." I don't even
Very
remember writing this. To be honest, I don't remember writing this song. I remember recording it, and I think we played this live once. I could be wrong though. It's been so long since that. That was 2007, 2008 that it came out. But Terminate, it's another fast one. It's actually, I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's probably one of the most fastest on the Death Brigade album. But yeah, I don't really know much how to explain more of that one.
Well, hopefully it doesn't get terminated from the set list there. Now, so my number 9 is coming from, again, the Complete Annihilation, and I think the difference between these two obviously is just this one was kind of recorded better, but I still love the songs off this album that's just raw and in your face. So my next choice is Scent of Death. It is track 3 on Complete Annihilation. Absolutely love it. It's a great follow-up to the title track, which is not necessarily the opening, but technically the opening. I don't know. There's an intro and whatnot. So yeah, there you go. Scent of Death.
Scent of Death was actually the second song we wrote for that album. So yeah, I remember that. That was one we were still in the Bay Area. We had that before we moved out here to Vegas even. So yeah, right on. Good
Absolutely.
track. All right, my number 8, again off of both the EP and the On Slaying Grounds album. This one's called Spawn of Evil. This is a perfect song to me that mixes thrash with death metal. It's got some crazy beats, crazy drumming. The vocals are insane. Guitar work is really good. Yeah, it's like being screamed at the top of your lungs, and you have to take it.
There's a
I
lot of
like it.
blasts during this song too, though. You don't typically do blast beats within the Avenger of Blood camp, except for primarily this has a lot of more, I guess, blasts compared to, I guess, your last records is the point I was trying to get at. But this song especially I felt was really aggressive in the drumming department.
Yeah, it was.
So
Thank you. Yeah, right on.
all right, so I'm gonna go off of the Death Brigade. This is technically on the Death Brigade record, but it's only on that. And when I interviewed you the first time, I didn't realize that this was only on a particular format of the album. And the song is entitled "Among the Vile Dead." It is the last track off of the Death Brigade on vinyl. So if you have the vinyl, ladies and gentlemen, there's an extra bonus track that, again, I didn't even know because of the label. I mean, every time I would search for it and whatnot, the label didn't specify that this is a bonus track to sell to people or whatnot. It was kind of just thrown on there on the vinyl. But it's a great song. I kind of wish that it was properly released.
Yeah. That was the first song that we wrote after our demo. The very first song that was supposed to be on Complete Annihilation, but we scrapped it. It just, I don't know. I don't even know why. Maybe we were tired of playing it or something. But I remember, and when we were getting ready to record Death Brigade, our guitarist Mark wanted to bring that back. So we taught it to him and brought it back, and the label liked it, so they put it as the bonus track
Was
on
there
the
any
vinyl.
were there any new elements that you added on to what the track that would be recorded on the Death Brigade record compared to like the original? I guess
It's the same. Everything about it is the same. The only thing that was a little touched was the solo, because we never really had that in place. It was just wing it as you go. But yeah, that is actually an amazing song. That's a
I
good
dig it.
choice.
I
Yeah,
dig
that's a
it.
good choice.
I'm not trying to be super obscure to where I just really dig the song and I didn't even know it was a bonus track until you told me. So
Yeah, right on. Okay, so my number 7 is off the Speed Kills Again compilation. and this is the song Enemy Attack. A lot of people were accusing us, I guess, of stealing the beginning of Hammer Smashed Face from Cannibal Corpse, but it's really not. I mean, yeah, the dun 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 dun, right? But we're doing it different than they do, but we didn't really realize that we did it either. You know what I mean? It was just, well, hey, fucking this sounds cool. Let's just do that, you know? But yeah, we recorded that song in St. George, Utah with some friends of ours that had a studio, and some great background vocals on there. I'm not happy with the guitar tone on the two songs on that, but I think the songs are really strong. And Enemy Attack is definitely, it's catchy. It's very hooky.
Absolutely. I think these tracks are some of the best that Avenger ever did in my personal opinion. I didn't put them on the list because I was just concentrating more on like the records per se. So I didn't put any demos or this or that and the other, but yeah, it's a great choice. It's a great, that was like probably the first Avenger song I heard was that Speed Kills compilation, and so that was my first introduction to you guys, and I loved it. I don't know. I mean, it was once you get past that first riff, though, I feel it's more. It's like if Creator and Cannibal had like a baby and they put it in a song, and that's what they got. So that's what I always thought it was.
Basically, good analogy.
Very cool. So we're at number
seven for you.
So I'm gonna go off of the Death Brigade record once again. This track absolutely rules. This is the last song. If you have the regular version or the I don't know, the digital version or the CD, but this is Assassins. Just a great closing track. You could have put Among the Vile Dead or Assassins as the last track or whatever, or both. But this serves as a great kind of closer to the record. You know, first song is obviously the banger. It needs to kind of just like hook you in, and that's it. It's the burner. And then the last track is it's just another burner. So I dig it a lot. Assassins.
Right on. I don't know. Assassins we kept in the set list for quite a long time. It's one of the songs I guess I'm burnt out on from playing because it's one of the only ones we kept from that album that we played live because it was fast and it was more simplistic, but it's definitely in your face. I'll say that much. Assassins, yeah. All right. So my number 6 is the title track to the very first album, The Complete Annihilation, and the song Complete Annihilation. Yeah, that was the second song we actually wrote for Complete Annihilation. It has an intro that goes with it, but the intro was cut and put as the first track when it was actually part of the song. So now that we're re-recording it, the intro and Complete Annihilation are one song like it was supposed to be.
So was that a label decision or was that your guys'
No, that was a stupid engineer can't fucking do his job right, asshole fucking decision.
Oh, I love it. It's awesome. Well, very good choice. Did you said it was the second track? No, I thought you said that that Scent of Death was the second track that you wrote for the record. Was that the first one now, or is this the? Because now
okay.
I'm confused.
Complete would have been the first one.
Okay.
Technically.
Well, that you wrote for it or whatever. That's that. I was
right.
just curious.
But even though Among the Vile Dead was even written before that album, even.
You know what I mean? but we're putting that on the Death Brigade era because that's where it made it to. So,
I got you.
But you know, just from these particular tracks on this record, so the title track was the first to be completed and
right.
Very cool. So we're at now I'm going to go off of the Onslaying Grounds record. And this is a song entitled "Sealed in Blood." I absolutely love it. You don't typically do more groove based beats in Avenger, but on this particular track, I feel it really serves it well, and obviously it goes into blast beats immediately after, and just again, it's there's more variety, I think, on this particular record within the Avenger of Blood camp than your previous one. So this one to me offered a little bit more variety, and I loved the track. So there you go.
I'll just say this about that album is that I felt like we were stuck in a box. I felt like it was like you can't get out. And we pigeonholed ourselves in my mind at the time, and it was hard for me to think outside that box unless I completely did something different. So that's why Unslaying Grounds has more of a death metal tinge to it than the first two albums. But now we're going back to that strict thrash because now, like, I don't know, some time away, it opens you up and you're able to refocus and be excited about what you did as opposed to what you did that you could or could not be happy with.
Sure.
But anyway, okay. Anyway, my next one, number 5, is Among the Vile Dead, as you had mentioned earlier, the bonus track on Death Brigade. And as I said, this was one of the earliest songs we wrote. This was inspired by the band Witchery, actually. I got Eric, our singer guitarist at the time, into them too, which rubbed off because it doesn't sound like them. It sounds like Creator was mixed with Witchery, kinda, but it's not really. It's just the way that the riff, right?
Right.
It bounces around a little bit, but there's that. Oh, how could I describe it? It's like a nail being pierced into your eyeball or your eardrum, you know?
It's very aggressive, so I really dig the track because of the aggressiveness to it. But let me ask you something real quick though. In between, the Death Brigade record and on Slaying Ground, was it difficult for you as a songwriter because Eric was kind of like the main guy that wrote a majority of the tracks, and I'm just curious if it was tough for you to write songs without him at first.
The guitarist that we had replace Eric for that album, he was the majority of the writer on it. He was the one that wrote most of the riffs. At first, it was kind of hard, but as we started working through things more, he understood where I was wanting to go more than Mark did. So yeah, I mean, it was a little rough, I'll say that.
But once you guys found your groove, it was all good. So I was just curious if at first
Until
it was
they
like,
quit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just curious if at first it was like, fuck, what are we gonna do? And then, you just kind of.
I took the reins on the direction. I didn't take the reins on the writing. If there was a riff I didn't like, I would say so, but most of the time it was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's put these together. How many times you want to do this? Let's do this 4. Let's do this 8,
Hey,
right?
yeah,
Whatever.
absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely, man. Now I'm gonna go off of the Complete Annihilation record, and this is absolutely annihilating for me. It's Tyrants of the Bloodlands. I absolutely dig this track. Just it's relentless all the way through. Again, just that's what Avenger of Blood is. It's if you want relentless fucking speed and relentless fucking death, Avenger of Blood's the band for you.
Right on. Yeah, thank you for that. uh Tyrants of the Bloodlands, yeah, that's good. Since we're on that, that's my number 4, since that's where we're at. So I could just
Perfect
fill you in.
segue, dude.
Yeah, how about that? Um Again, this was one of the earliest songs we wrote for that album. Second or third, probably third. Uh anyway, yeah, this one was it's definitely aggressive. It's definitely aggressive. It's just all out war. Songs about all out war. It's just this is where you're at. This is how you're raised. Well, this is how it's going to be then. Tyrants of the Bloodlands.
Absolutely.
It's got a lot of cool punches. I like punches. So if you haven't noticed in like a lot of Avenger songs, there's punches up the ass. That's my doing. But I like it. I like the way we did that in Tyrants of the Bloodlands. I think
Absolutely.
it's a good banger. It hooks you at times. It's not a poppy hook, but once you listen to it, you're like, man, that's killer. I gotta listen to it again.
And it kind of sums up the album cover. Just big old, you know,
Right?
big old explosion. And everything's fucking destroyed. So there you go. That's a track for you. A good track, man. Number 4 for me is "When Will You Die?" Die. I like that track a lot. The track is called "When Will You Die?" Totally Slayer vibe. It's everything about it to me is a Slayer vibe. Don't mean to offend, but that's what I fucking love about it. And yeah, "When Will You Die?" Die.
Die.
It's awesome.
That that's probably the most fun song we ever wrote. I think that one was written by Mark. Um, I don't know. We can get to that later.
All right, we'll save it. We'll save it. We'll save it.
All right.
What is your next one, sir?
My number 3 is Violent Epiphany,
Oh my
which you
god.
had mentioned earlier. Well, how about this?
All right.
One of the most angry and aggressive songs we ever wrote. Like I said earlier, I guess that's why it's higher up on the list, number 3.
And it's so kind of cool that it's so high on your list, because I know this is like, Eric wrote the whole thing. So you're looking at it at your whole catalog in terms of like the song itself, and not just kind of like all the politics, all the bullshit behind it, who wrote what and whatnot. It's like you're looking at it in terms of the song. So I really dig that. This is a really fun to do because of that. And I guess going off of this, when you initially heard this track, you know, how did you feel about it compared to, say, some of the other ones, because it was primarily written by one individual?
The who it was written by never bothered me. I was never one of those guys. It's what can we do that to make the next song better? Whoever has the idea, put it forward. You know, and I still think that way. I still don't give a shit who wrote the song, and now it's going to be that way. Like, who cares? We all pitched in to get that song done. You know, yeah, maybe you wrote the riff and he wrote the chorus riff, and the other dude wrote the verse, and the other dude wrote something else, and it doesn't matter to me. It's just I was always looking forward to what's the next song. How are we going to top that last song with the next song? And that's one of them that was like, okay, well, you can't top this. And that was actually one of the last songs we wrote for that album, which is why I guess it's so more aggressive than the others.
Absolutely. So my next choice is the title track off of the Death Brigade album. This is one of the first ones I ever heard from you guys as well. Immediately after the Speed Kills record, right? Introduced me to pretty much all of you guys. But this was the first kind of track that I heard outside of that. And it just hooked me from the beginning. It just, oh, hail the Death Brigade. The chorus rules. It's one of my absolute favorites from you guys. And yeah, just this is the track I would start with Avenger of Blood is Death Brigade.
That's killer, man. See, one thing we were kind of going after was like an anthemic song. So it ended up that I think four of those songs that are on Death Brigade have that anthemic feel. And but that one and Poser Slaughter, which happens to be my next song, right?
Look at you.
but but yeah, I like that, and I like how you know when you're playing it, and if it hooks you and it keeps you coming back, and you're singing along before it's even recorded, and you while you're playing it, and the while you're practicing, and the band's going, and when you hear that, you know it, so you want like, wow, that's genius. How are we going to top that? So it's part of that, and I love that. I love that anthemic. That
And it's interesting that you say that because there's not a lot of that in Avenger of Blood. There's not a
really,
lot.
I know,
And
I know,
so it's
but
interesting
it
that you say
doesn't
that.
make you think that. It doesn't
Yeah,
make you think that. But now, if you go back and listen to it, I think you'll be able to pick out the other two that are kind of anthemic off Death Brigade. I mean,
absolutely.
so which leads me to number two, Poser Slaughter. When we wrote this is one of those that we knew. It was just like, wow, this is genius. So when we started playing it and the crowd was singing before it was recorded, you know you have something. It hit their soul. So mission accomplished because you did it for yourself, but you did it and they like it as much, which is like holy shit, when you have the whole crowd before it's released singing the chorus and it's the first or second time you ever played it in front of anybody. Yeah, but it's about slaughtering posers. It's getting rid of the people who don't belong in the metal scene that think they are, right? Love it.
Love it. All right, my number two is now I'm going off of the first album, and this is the title track to it. This was again, I've only had this for maybe a month or two, if that, maybe a couple more months after I, again, within this year. This track immediately I go to every single time. I just complete annihilation. And like where you hit the stabs, as I call it, that pop 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 pop.
The punches. Yeah.
Okay, the punches. I call them stabs. So I pop pop pop. Right, and as Eric's kind of doing the chorus, I was like, that's a very interesting spot where Shannon and the boys are like kind of coming back in again. Because
Yeah.
you don't wait until he says complete annihilation. It's like complete annihilation. It's almost like it's weird, but it works, and I just dig it. So there you go, complete annihilation.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned something earlier, and I guess it's all over that song, but you mentioned something about Slayer. But we were like, Slayer was both mine and Eric's favorite band when we were in high school. So now that we are playing this style all these years later, it like came to the forefront. So Slayer is like the main, the frying pan, if you will. Everything else you add in, but Slayer was that frying pan for us. So when you hear Complete Annihilation and those, even though we think and thought differently than all the other bands, but it was always nice to try new things like that. You know what I mean? And have it work. So that's cool. You picked that out.
Very
So
cool.
my first pick, top 10 all-time favorite Avenger songs is When Will You Die, which is off Death Brigade, as you mentioned earlier. Mark was the main riff writer of that song, even though it says Avenger of Blood written by Avenger of Blood on the thing, but that was mostly Mark, but we all had something to do with it. And it's, to me, it could mean different things to different people. To me, it's dedicated to a specific person that in my past that. So yeah,
Interesting. And you can
and I
obviously,
think we have. I know we don't have the. I'm pretty sure we're close, but maybe second for us when it says die 42 times in the song. So it's getting the point across.
that's funny. It's the Jackie Robinson of Avenger of Blood 42 times. So
Yeah,
get that
but
reference there.
the only one that has us beat is Iron Maiden with Die With Your Boots On.
Oh, okay. Very nice. So my absolute favorite track on this isn't the definitive one. In my opinion, this is just my personal favorite from you guys. Again, going back to the definitive, I would say Death Brigade. That would be the one I would show people. But this is my particular favorite. I feel this is the most diverse of your whole catalog. And also, too, I wish there was more of this because you have so many harmonies and so many just all this killer stuff, and it's coming off of the Onslaying Grounds record, and the track is killer. It's Under the Dead Cross. There's this killer middle section I was like completely just like taken a bit back from. I was like, holy shit, like I wish there was more of this in Avenger of Blood music. So for that reason and that reason alone, I just feel this is the most complete fucking Tanner Poppitt kind of song, if that makes sense. So complete, it just spoke to me the most out of your whole catalog. So there you go.
Wow.
Under the Dead Cross.
That's cool. That was actually supposed to be the name of the album. That was going to be the title track, Under the Death Cross. But yeah, I like that song too. It's a very cool song, but I don't know. It didn't make my 10. I don't know why. It's so hard, man. It's so hard trying to choose your own shit. Like, I don't know. But hey, that's an amazing choice. That's all I gotta say. I'm honored that you think that about the middle section, though. That's cool.
You don't really have too many harmonic elements within Avenger, and hopefully that'll change in the near future. We'll see. But for now, I found this to be the most, I don't know, melody driven, and it was just so cool to see that with aggressive music. But so that's gonna do it for us, guys.
Awesome.
Shannon, I want to thank you so much again for giving me the opportunity to do this and have some fun, and again we'll do it all again next week.
Next time. Madras.
We won't get into that. Okay, well you just spoiled it. So for next time we'll get into the other side of the coin, as we'll say, and gonna be very interesting. It's gonna, I'm gonna feel like she's gonna be on the other foot or whatever. But
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, Shannon, thanks so much again for doing this. Make sure to go check him out. Why don't you give me a link real quick before we get out of here?
You can find Avenger on Facebook. Just type Avenger of Blood. You can find us on Bandcamp. Just type Avenger of Blood. I don't know those website name things. I got to the point where I don't even care anymore. But if you look it up, you can find it. Hell yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely, and look for the new record relatively soon. The re-recording of the Complete Annihilation record, and well, for Shannon and myself, we're signing out of here, guys. Cheers.